Here is ASRock's X370 Gaming K4 motherboard that is supposed to offer a nice balance between price and performance. Though, as with all things, yes, let's take a look at this board and whether it is really worth your money. Welcome back to Tech City, and let's take a look at this VRM. You get an 8+4 phase power design sporting Sinopower SM4336 low side MOSFETs and SM4337 high side MOSFETs that are rated at 40 and 35 amps at 100 degrees Celsius respectively. Chokes are rated at 45 amps and the K4 features 12K solid state capacitors. There are 4 DIMM slots capable of supporting up to 64 GB of DDR4 memory, and currently XMP profiles were not working with this mainboard, and the maximum I could get my memory to was speeds of 2400 MHz with 1T command timings. However, there was no option to change the command rates, which is important for getting higher memory overclocks, especially past 3 GHz on reasonable voltages. The VRM heatsink itself was getting quite hot. I measured it at about 63 degrees on the sink after 20 minutes of IDA64 at 3.85 GHz on my 1700X. This was unfortunately the max I could take this CPU to at 1.356 volts, and the CPU, although booting, would not work at higher frequencies. Ironically enough, cross-testing my overclocks with others showed that this seems to be about the voltage sweet spot for these CPUs on 24/7 overclocks, and the K4 Fatal1ty handled that absolutely fine. The onboard audio is quite simply exceptional with -90 decibel levels of crosstalk, the lowest I have seen yet, and features the ALC 1220 codec with 7.1 surround support, and the mic input as usual on ASRock boards is quite solid with low noise. I'll let you guys have a listen. So here's a quick mic in test on the X370 Gaming K4 motherboard with a V-Motor Boom Pro microphone plugged directly into the mic input with a volume level of 50 and a +10 decibel. There are 2 M.2 NVMe PCIe slots that support native booting and 2 PCIe 3.0 steel-plated 16-speed slots that support SLI or Crossfire. There is also a full 24 PCIe lane connectivity available on this board, with the options for an extra 4 PCIe 1-speed slots, and for SATA connectivity you get 6 SATA 3 slots that can be put into a RAID array. There is also 3 USB 2 and 2 USB 3 front outs, 5 fan headers, with one being a dedicated water pump header, a TPM connector, a Dr. Debug BIOS readout, HD audio and COM ports headers, and 3 LED connections. There is only a single BIOS on this board, and looking in the BIOS menu, just like any ASRock board, there is a lot of features here with the ability to manually overclock P states, which are essentially like your C states, but you can program them the way you want to with different voltages and clock speeds. This is where I really like to set in overclocks manually to take advantage of the cool and quiet features if your processor is not being stressed. There is also options to disable and enable many of the features on this board, though there is no option to save your overclocking profiles, which was a pity. You can however change memory timings and even attempt to enable XMP profiles. Looking near the rear of the board, there is also the option for a wireless module that can be connected via an M.2 slot, which the module is not included with the motherboard. Further down there is 2 PS2 ports, a HDMI out, 6 USB 3 ports, which one is a Fatal1ty mouse port for 1000Hz polling, 1 USB 3.1A and 1 Thunderbolt connector. Below that is your standard audio and optical jacks and an RJ45 port for the Intel i219V NIC. So verdict time, and the Gaming K4 is a solid motherboard coming in at 145 USD or 220 AUD, and that even includes a dank RGB LED on the X370 chipset heatsink, which I know you guys all love. Though giggles aside, it features a decent VRM and good onboard audio solution, and of course a fast Intel i219V NIC. It is this combo that will certainly keep gamers happy, though the VRM still doesn't feature MOSFETs as good as the higher class Taichi, which is also more expensive, and overclocking is really hard without a clear CMOS button, especially on an entirely new architecture, which makes me recommend this board to people who just want to get a Ryzen R7 CPU, a good cooler, and just slap it on and let the auto overclocking do its thing. In other words, this motherboard will be a great solution for those turbo noobs just getting into tech, or people who couldn't be bothered overclocking. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to hit that like button, and if you dislike the video, then be sure to pop a dislike down there, and let me know in the comment section below what you think of the ASRock X370 Gaming K4 motherboard. Is it going to be your X370 motherboard of choice. Would love to hear your thoughts and opinions as always, and I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.